We have innate connectedness with the divinity within ourselves. And so that 2-year-old was aware. He wasn't blocking his own awareness of the divinity within himself. So when he saw this statue representing this energy of awakeness, and the Buddha says of this energy of awakeness, the same energy of awakeness that is in me, guess where it is? It's in you. And so the Buddha is continually inviting us to let go of identifying with anything other than that energy of awakeness. So a couple of things just to point out here. The 2-year-old just knew this. That's our natural true awareness. Respect, love, divinity, generosity, self-givingness, goodwill, just offering what's beautiful and good and pure, just sharing it spontaneously, naturally. And so I'm going to share another part of a story, true story, that crossed my path this week. But just remember this. This is very consistent with what Swami Nityananda taught. If you want divine energy to flow through you, love and service. And that is exemplified by that 2-year-old just very naturally. He naturally just looked at the Buddha and he was like, Buddha's here. Buddha's in my own heart. And then there was this self-givingness, this natural, how can I share what's beautiful and good that I have to share? And those two things, love and service, flow forth this energy of illumination. Good morning, welcome. 1,000 welcomes. It's magnificent to be here. We're meditating today. The topic is Divinity Walking This Earth, Illumination. And I'll share just a little bit about the title. The title, the first part, comes from Swami Nityananda. Swami Nityananda founded this community in Baltimore 50 years ago, and he was my teacher. And this is what he says: everyone I see is divinity walking this earth. And so, welcome, divinity walking this earth. And then for each of us, we are inviting ourselves to turn within, to the heart within each of us, and to greet the divinity that is within each of us. And as we greet the divinity that is within each of us, we are increasingly able to greet and be consciously connected with the divinity in all beings. And so I'm just inviting you to imagine. So invite yourself. Some people it's really easy to connect with. You're just like, yep, divinity. I am totally seeing the divinity in that person. And then imagine maybe like a friend or a family member who has the ability sometimes to just like quirk their eyebrow at you. They give you the side eye. And they have that ability to sort of like trigger you. And imagine what it would be like in that moment if you could let go of the trigger and you could say, divinity is walking the earth through that one right now. I see everyone smiling. I see everyone grinning. It freshens everything, doesn't it? It melts away the scripts. It melts away the habitual response patterns that we have created. And it allows us to encounter in the energy of pure light and supreme love as if we are encountering them for the first time. These humans whom we might have lived with for 50 years, or for 5 years, or for however long we have encountered them. And it allows us to, in that fullness of love, that fullness of light, to just allow divinity through me to greet divinity through you. And then there's this exuberant flow of dynamic, radiant energy continually, and our lives and relationships change. Our experience of the earth changes when we live in this way. The second part of the title, Illumination, comes from Lahiri. And Lahiri was a teacher in this line of teachers. He was married, he had 5 kids, he worked a regular job. And so he's particularly helpful to connect with if you are sort of like, I gotta take care of these family responsibilities. He knew all about that. So if you're ever wanting to connect with a teacher in this particular line who can help you, Lahiri can help you. And so all of the teachers in this line, they're available 24/7. You can tune into their consciousness, their energy, their inspiration, and receive support. And what Lahiri says is this: there are 4 successive stages of spiritual self-unfoldment. They are introspection, devotion, renunciation, and illumination. Introspection is the perception of the innate divine qualities of the soul. So I'm just inviting everyone for a minute, turn within. Innate divine qualities are within you. And so step 1 of unfoldment is turning within and being aware of the innate divine qualities within me. Step 2, he says, devotion is unconditional love for God. And you can kind of see how it naturally unfolds. If you turn within and you feel the innate divine qualities within you, naturally there's this flow of love for the divine, which has given this divine energy to you within your own heart. And then, when we're in contact with that unconditional love, renunciation arises naturally. His definition of renunciation, he says, it's freedom from the dominance of ego. Woo! Is anyone else whooping with joy? So unconditional love frees us from our own self-limitations, right? That's what ego is. It's identifying with our own self-limitations and thinking that the illusionary things that seem to separate me from the divine and from pure-hearted humans, thinking that they're real. And so if I'm in contact with the energy of unconditional love, the separateness melts away. And that's back to, I'm able to be in contact. The same divinity is in here, that is in here, that is in everywhere. And so then I'm walking in this field of divinity in time and space. So the world is going to appear different. It's going to be very clear that this is the divine realm that we are in right now, and that there's nothing wrong with this divine realm, that everything is unfolding in perfect timing and perfect ways. And then Lahiri says, illumination is the realization of absolute oneness with God, of self-perfection in the perfection of the Supreme Self. And so each of us is invited to enjoy illumination, which is simply oneness with the divine always. Simply realizing the humanness is also one with the divine. The divine is fully present here in our humanness as well. So I'm about to share some teachings which help us connect with, in daily life, how do we live this, each of us? And both of these are things that crossed my path this week. So the first was a story that someone told me about their 2-year-old neighbor. So this person has a statue of the Buddha in their yard. Their 2-year-old neighbor, the first time the 2-year-old came into their yard and stood in front of the statue of Buddha, the 2-year-old put his hand on his own heart and he said, Buddha, Buddha. And ever since then, when he comes into this yard, he places little leaves, little flowers, little pebbles in the hands of the Buddha. No one taught him this. This is the true awareness and the true nature of each of us, that we have, this is what Lahiri is talking about, we have innate connectedness with the divinity within ourselves. And so that 2-year-old was aware. He wasn't blocking his own awareness of the divinity within himself. So when he saw this statue representing this energy of awakeness, and the Buddha says of this energy of awakeness, the same energy of awakeness that is in me, guess where it is? It's in you. And so the Buddha is continually inviting us to let go of identifying with anything other than that energy of awakeness. So a couple of things just to point out here. The 2-year-old just knew this. That's our natural true awareness. Respect, love, divinity, generosity, self-givingness, goodwill, just offering what's beautiful and good and pure. Just sharing it spontaneously, naturally. And so I'm going to share another part of a story, true story, that crossed my path this week. But just remember this. This is very consistent with what Swami Shankarananda taught. If you want divine energy to flow through you, love and service. And that is exemplified by that 2-year-old just very naturally. He naturally just looked at the Buddha and he was like, Buddha's here. Buddha's in my own heart. And then there was this self-givingness, this natural, how can I share what's beautiful and good that I have to share? And those two things, love and service, flow forth this energy of illumination. So, second story. I think this was Tuesday morning from about 5 a.m. to about 9 a.m. I get up and the lights throughout my home, they're sometimes too dim, they're sometimes too bright, and they're sometimes flickering. So I'm just going to let you imagine that. Lights sometimes too dim, sometimes too bright, sometimes flickering. So I waited until it was a reasonable time to text my neighbors and just be like, is this happening in your place? They were like, no. So I was listening within, and I was like, okay, I need to call the utility company. So I called the utility company, and the divine often does this. Then, between that Tuesday 9 a.m. time when I called the utility company and Thursday evening at around 7 when the utility company came, the divine moderated it. So basically the light was steady. So the divine let me know, you need to call this in, and then the divine moderated it. But here's what the utility company found when they came out. The neutral had pulled away from the power line. And so I looked up this morning what the neutral is. The neutral is necessary to complete the circuit. And so if you just think back to that 2-year-old, the 2-year-old knew love and generosity, love and service. That's what gets the flow. That's what generates energy that flows from the source. It's necessary to complete the circuit. Everything flows back to the source. Otherwise, you get what happened. Lights too dim, lights too bright, lights flickering. So that's the primary function of the neutral. It actually, so the technical term here is power flows from the substation to the pole, to the home of each of us. And then the electricity flows through the light. And the electricity that's not used by the light must flow back to the source. Otherwise, you get what was happening. Too dim, too bright, flickering. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this in a second. The other thing that the neutral does, if necessary, is it grounds energy. So if there's too much current, then it will harmlessly direct that into the earth so that it doesn't create any harm. So I'm going to share a teaching from Swami Nityananda. He's telling you this. Welcome. It is a joy to be with you. If you are enjoying this content, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps light travel. Darlings of the universe, love yourself enough that you will cultivate spiritual discernment and divine detachment. So first of all, darlings of the universe, is that not the most charming way to be greeted? And this is part of completing the circuit. So love and service joined with spiritual discernment and divine detachment complete the flow. They allow that pure source energy to flow through you, and they allow that light to be incredibly warm, incredibly steady, incredibly bright. And so spiritual discernment and divine detachment are part of this process as long as we are here in a body. And that love and that being of service are also part of this process as long as we are here in a body. I'll give an example of that later, but I want to share a couple of readings first. So first of all, I just want to share a wonderful teaching from Swami Premananda, who was Swami Shankarananda's teacher, and he translated the Dhammapada. And in his introduction, he says that the human body is an instrument of illumination. And so isn't that one of the most beautiful ways of looking at your human body that you have ever encountered? That your human body is an instrument of illumination. And the steps that we have been talking about, this is how illumination works. Allowing that love to flow, that same way that 2-year-old naturally knew within my own heart is this Buddha energy, this Buddha nature, this Buddha consciousness, this awakeness, this aliveness. And then there's this natural, what can I share that's beautiful and good and perfect? And then the next 2 steps, spiritual discernment and divine detachment. And so this is spiritual discernment and divine detachment, along with love and being of service, help us heal human pain. They help us heal any human pain that we are carrying, that we have encountered. So this is true of physical human pain, but it's also true of emotional human pain as well. So I'll just share with you one shortcut question. If you are encountering your own pain in any way, ask yourself, is that the eternal truth of my being? It melts away your identification with pain, right? It's a shortcut. And so please use that question also when you encounter someone else who's experiencing any kind of affliction or challenge or adversity or pain. Is that the eternal truth of their being? That's what Swami Shankarananda means by spiritual discernment and divine detachment. So you still respond to your own pain. You still say, okay, is a bandage helpful in this particular case? Do I need to go to the ER? If I need to go to the ER, I'm going to be meeting the divine in the form of the beautiful experts who help me at the ER, right? So, and anything in between, from a bandage to going to the ER, it's all the divine. If you need a bandage, it's the divine in the form of a bandage, right? And so, but it also helps you disidentify with thinking, oh, what's wrong with me? It helps disidentify from catastrophizing. It just like wipes away judgment. And so this is all a way of wiping away judgment. It's also, the yogis called this traditionally surrender. I'm not sure how comfortable our current culture is with that word. So if you prefer to use spiritual discernment and divine detachment, it works and it gets to the same place. Surrender is like, you're not even asking why. And so that's another shortcut. If you've been asking why, that's an invitation for you to bring into play spiritual discernment and divine detachment. If you've been asking why in relation to anything you've experienced or anything anyone else has experienced. So what you gain if you let go of judgment is just pure, unconditional love and responsiveness. And what is responding through you then? It's not the ego that's believing in this pain and this illusion, this separateness. It's illumination that is responding through you. So illumination will share itself with you. Remember, your body is an instrument of illumination. What an incredibly healing view of the human body, that it is an instrument of illumination. And then everyone that you encounter, their body is an instrument of illumination too. And you notice all the human categories and judgments, they're just not there. Every single human body, no matter its shape, size, color, background, it is an instrument of illumination. And so we're back in contact with what's real. We're back in contact with that energy of pure illumination. So I'm going to share with you a reading from Simeon. And he was a poet, he was a monk, he was in the Eastern Orthodox Church, and he taught that it is possible to know divine light directly. He taught that it is possible to know divine grace directly. And he honored his teacher who taught him to know that directly for himself. And so this is one of the reasons why I'm always honoring Swami Shankarananda, who taught me to know and love the light within me, which is just the same invitation we all have. Know and trust the light within me, know and trust the light within all. That's what a true teacher is here to help us realize. So Simeon taught this, and here's what he says. The light within us shines on us without evening, so there's no night in this light within us. It shines on us without evening, without change, without alteration, without form. It speaks, works, lives, gives life, and changes into light those whom it illuminates. And he taught that this is possible for each of us to know directly within ourselves. And here is a prayer, a poem from him. So he referred to the divine as Christ in this poem. We awaken in Christ's body as Christ awakens our bodies. And my poor hand is Christ. He enters my foot and is infinitely me. I move my hand, and wonderfully, my hand becomes Christ, becomes all of him. For God is indivisibly whole, seamless in his godhood. I move my foot, and at once he appears like a flash of lightning. Do my words seem blasphemous? Then open your heart to him, and let yourself receive the one who is opening to you so deeply. For if we genuinely love him, we wake up inside Christ's body, where all our body, all over, every most hidden part of it, is realized in joy as him, and he makes us utterly real. And everything that is hurt, everything that seemed to us dark, harsh, shameful, maimed, ugly, irreparably damaged, is in him transformed and recognized as whole, as lovely, and radiant in his light. He awakens as the beloved in every last part of our body. And if you can just allow yourself to feel the way that energy of light, that energy of pure love, that energy of supreme love, it's awake within your body, it's awake within your heart. And as it awakens and unfolds within your heart, that energy flows through your whole body. And this is how Simeon experienced it. He encountered the divine through the name of Christ. So for each of us to just notice and name, how do I name the divine? How do I encounter the divine? And am I willing to let go of the painful memories without judgment in order to allow that light and that grace to unfold through me so completely that all separateness melts away and I am simply only always here to allow that light to shine, however the divine would like that light to shine through me. And I'll share with you in closing, this is a memory, a blessing from Swami Nityananda. He left the body in November of 2014. And this was from January of 2014. And it was right around the time when his health condition had returned. So he'd been diagnosed with a return of his health condition. He was giving a Sunday meditation. And he became more luminous and more radiant and more filled with supreme love every moment of his time in embodiment. And this was one of those moments where just pure luminosity radiated through him. And what he said was this, and he was speaking not only for himself, he was speaking for all beings. He said, when you put your hands to the plow, don't let go. When you put your hands to the plow, don't look back. When you put your hands to the plow, hold on. And the love that shared through his eyes, the light that shared through his eyes, was an incredible blessing, an incredible gift, an incredible reminder. So for each of us, our hands are on the plow. If we are hearing this, our hands are on the plow. What that means is each of us is aware of the light within ourselves. And we are aware that it is a sacred, remarkable gift to have that awareness. That 2-year-old boy had that awareness. It is natural to us. And there are many opportunities in human existence to make us feel separate from that natural awareness. And so to love yourself so much that you're willing to let go of any experience, any memory, any pain that would make you feel separate from that natural awareness. And so you're rededicating yourself to your spiritual practice, to your meditation, to your karma yoga, to your everything that you most adore, to your spiritual ideal, to being of service, to being present and sharing what is highest, what is best, what is most beautiful, what is bright, what is noble, what is filled with joy and laughter and good humor. And you're just as many times as it takes, I put my hands to the plow. I don't let go. I put my hands to the plow. I don't look back. I put my hands to the plow. I hold on. And as you do that, Swami Nityananda demonstrated this. There's no judgment that arises in us. And there's also no separateness. Non-separateness is the reality. So then what is present through each of us is divinity walking the earth. And each of us is invited to manifest this exactly as it can only be manifested through each of us. And so each human on the planet is so important to the whole that the purpose of the universe requires us to be here, or we would not be here. And so for us to trust the absolute goodness, the beauty, the joy, the wholeness, the wonder, the magnificence that we are here, that there's nothing accidental or mistaken about our body, that it is an instrument of illumination, that there's nothing mistaken about the human experiences that we have had, that they are also instruments of illumination. So to simply let go of the shame, the pain, the blame, the judgment, the feeling of injury, the asking of why, keep the wisdom, keep the discernment, keep the detachment. That's part of the requirement. Remember, it completes the circuit. And it allows the light to simply flow smoothly and brightly and warmly through us. And then simply every moment of our lives to be here and to be fully here and to invite the divine to live fully through us. It makes me cry. Invite the divine to love fully through us. Remember how incredibly wonderful and tender it is to be able to love in human form. When we love in human form, we love knowing our hearts will break. We do it anyway. That is a magnificent gift that we give to ourselves. To love even in human form. To allow the eternal to love through us, knowing our loved ones will leave in whatever ways they leave, and knowing that nothing is stronger than love. So for those of us who have loved ones in the non-physical, which is all of us, we all have loved ones in the non-physical, their love, their strength, their awareness, their support, it is with all of us. Always, that connectedness is here. And we can draw on it and rely upon it every breath that we are here. And so allow yourself to love beyond limits. Allow yourself, the Bhagavad Gita says, cast away fear and let your heart rejoice. Allow yourself to let go of doubt and the illusion of separateness, and allow yourself to fully embody and fully live that divinity is here walking this earth through you, and divinity is here walking this earth through every single human that you encounter. Thank God that it is so.